Hey, everybody. Welcome to a live episode of the Exchange Podcast. I'm Kevin Wormholt. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we have a great episode with the veteran organization, Future Operations Base. And I have one of the co-founders here right now. And we have a second the co-founders that will be joining us very shortly. And he's just running a little bit behind. But I have with me right now Sarah Rose, who was prior law enforcement. She left law enforcement to join this organization, which is a great organization that dedicates resources to helping veterans. And it's an organization that supports the veteran community and encourages working with their hands and helping them with their accomplishments. So I'm going to bring in Sarah here. Sarah Rose, thank you very much for joining me on Future Operations Base, F.O.B for short, is your organization. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how this organization started.
So this organization started based on an idea of my co-founder, who will join us shortly, Rodney Lopez, who's a Marine veteran. I am a Texas peace officer. I was a sheriff's deputy for a little bit of time in Montgomery County, which is just north of Houston. And when I heard his idea for F.O.B, I just thought it was amazing. I am a girl who likes to get into the workshop and build things and do things and help people. And I'm a huge mental health advocate. And this just kind of, encompasses all of the different things that, I'm passionate about. So going from, a mental health worker and peace officer into an organization that helps our peace officers and first responders and veterans, it was just the perfect fit for me. So that's kind of how I got involved in Future Operations Base when we founded it.
Now you guys are out of Texas, is that correct? Outside the Houston area.
Yes.
So your organization is founded in Texas. You have a big challenge that's come about thanks to the coronavirus and COVID-19. What's been going on down in Texas since this started? How is this affecting what you guys do?
So we are a very hands-on organization. We go out and do home modifications and repairs. And we were in the middle. We had several veterans who needed help in projects that we had planned and different things. And so when Houston and Harris County and the surrounding counties shut down, it really kind of brought us to a halt. Not only are we a nonprofit and we operate on the generosity and donations of people and businesses, but we also have to go out to locations and to people's homes to complete the work that we do. COVID-19, thank you very much, just brought us to a screeching halt in almost every way that we could, but we have tried to persevere. We have a delivery service. So for our elderly veterans who are high risk, who can't get out, we have something. If they need something, we'll go get it. I'd much rather put myself at risk than them getting out and going to the store. We've had a veteran who was having issues at his house, and we masked up, we masked up and went over there and tried to problem solve the issue, as safely as possible so that he didn't have to go to the store. Different things like that. So even though it kind of put a damper on the bigger projects that we have, we're still trying to do everything that we can. We just have some hand sanitizers that were donated to us by Texas True Blue Coffee Company out of Austin. And I'm going to be delivering some of those to the sheriff's office tomorrow. So even though it's kind of slowed down the major processes, we're still trying to do everything that we can for our members and local veterans and first responders in the greater Houston area.
Yeah, I was really happy when you guys reached out and we were communicating over Facebook. Facebook's great. Thankfully, technology able to communicate with people from across the country and find a great organization like what you guys have. And me, myself, as a veteran, you can see I'm wearing my Marine Corps T-shirt shirt I put on for today, which was donated by my good friend Tyson Kelter, veteran from my company from back in the day. He donated the shirt for another cause that we do. But I guess it really helps us spread the word and get your organization. Is this something that you want to take nationally at some point and make it bigger than what it is?
Oh, definitely. We've already had people from several different states contact us on Facebook and say, hey, man, we really wish you had this out in Alabama, or hey, I have a friend in South Carolina. And that is definitely a goal that we have. We are trying to create the best foundation that we can here in the Houston area, because we know if we build the best foundation we can, then we can rebuild the top any way that we need to. So as soon as we get our foundation firm and settled here, and we know kind of a little bit better of what we're doing, because we're still rather new, we definitely plan on expanding not only across Texas, but definitely nationally, and being able to bring these services to people all across the United States.
And you mentioned that you're a new organization. Where are you in the process from creation to now? You guys started back in July, I believe. Is that correct?
July 31st was the birth date of F.O.B, Future Operations Base, and we have just been booking it. And then, like I said, up until Corona, we had been making really good progress. We are 501c3 pending, so all of our paperwork, we're just waiting on the bureaucracy to let us go through and get all that stuff. And that normally takes a minimum of 6 months. So now it's probably going to take just a teensy bit longer than that for the paperwork to go through. But until we're able to do that, we have a sister organization that's also a nonprofit for veterans and first responders called Canon Recovery. And we are using them to give out our tax exemption. So the IRS allows, if someone wants to donate through Canon Recovery, they can still get their tax exemption through them. And then Canon Recovery just kind of funnels the funds to F.O.B. So we're still able to give all of the tax exemptions and everything like that for donations and things that we receive. So we've been very lucky in the partnerships that we've made and the awesome people that we've met in the time that we've done this, and all of the things that we've been able to do. So we're not letting COVID-19 defeat us at all.
Well, that's good to hear, and I think a lot of us are fighting that battle. I see Rodney has joined us. I'm going to add him to the stream right now. Rodney, what's going on, man? How are you? You got to unmute your mic. There we go. Rodney, what's up?
Sorry, some technical issues there. How's everybody doing? Sorry I'm late.
No problem, Rodney. Busy man, big things. We already have an introduction from Sarah. I figured Rodney is a U.S. Marine veteran, a sergeant, correct? You got out as a sergeant. Introduce yourself and talk a little bit about why you took on this big project.
So when I got out of the Marine Corps, there was a lot of problems as far as transitioning back into the civilian sector. And there was a lot of a disconnect between me and the network that I had left behind before. So I was right out of high school, went into the Marine Corps, and I'm a hands-on mechanical kind of person. So then the workshop was always a form of therapy, and so I wanted to kind of bring that out on base in the Marine Corps base. If you wanted to change your own oil or change your tires, you could go to the hobby shop, pay a couple of bucks, and use the tools in the shop. And for the weekend, you could change your oil, rotate your tires, do what you want to do, and kind of get out of the grime of being yelled at all the time. So then getting out, I was kind of looking for that kind of environment, the shop environment. And I like to, do, wood craft stuff and just work around the house, small engine repair. So I wanted to bring that out to out here because I felt like it was missing. And I always felt a lot better whenever I could build something on my own and then show what I was working on. So then that's what started it. I started helping a few older veterans with the home modifications and just kind of getting out there and knowing that there was other people like me that was struggling and having a different way of therapy. So now what we do is, we have our MOS, which is a mobile outreach shop. I don't know if Sarah had talked about it already, but so we go and actually apply the skills that we're learning in the shop. So if it's plumbing or if it's a little bit of some small engine repair or some type of a door frame or hanging up a door, now this is what we're going out helping other veterans that need it and first responders that need it as well. So, and unfortunately, these guys are usually older and they can't get around, and some of them are in wheelchairs and need walkers. So we go out and we utilize our skills that's learned in the workshop and we apply it to our community.
And that's always a great. I mean, that sounds great. The fact that you're able to step up and help people that are in need, and it is always this issue, and I was going to bring this up a little bit later, but we can touch on it now, is the transition from military life into civilian life sometimes could be a difficult transition. A lot of things that you're used to, everything's very organized and very, you have a set schedule and people tell you to do, you just do. Now you're transitioning into where, you might actually miss that without realizing that, you miss that, hands-on experience. And for you to take that on as a challenge and bring that to people who might be missing that would be is great. I want to get into what is this program? What is the objective of the program overall? Would you say?
So the main core of the program is community, right? Like that's the center of everything that we do, that we want to really focus on is bringing people out of their isolation. It's really hard sometimes to get yourself out of that, but getting into the workshop or learning a new skill is a really good way to do that. If you can come into the workshop and all you have to focus on today is I need to measure this long and then cut it, and leave everything else at the door for a little bit, then, that's what we want to do. But overall in the future, we want to be able to teach, men and women, first responders, veterans, and their families some type of skill that they can take with them and use. Our future goal, our main goal is to have a large facility with those workshops in it: woodworking, welding, metallurgy, small engine repair, home improvement, so that they can come in and use our tools in our space for free. Maybe it's to work on a personal project they just need to finish up because they don't have the tools or space. They want to learn a skill that they can take and start their own business, or go and get a job that's a little bit more flexible that they can do. Or get out there if they just want to help someone, they want to teach someone a skill, they want to take what they know and go out and apply it in the community for, one of their brothers and sisters in arms. That's what we want to do. And that's why we not only want our, brick and mortar building, we also want the mobile outreach shop that we use to be utilized and give back in that circle of service. So community, and then, teaching vocational skills and that recreational therapy. I'm a huge mental health advocate. So allowing them just that time and space to kind of get away from what's going on and, relate to people who have gone through some of the same issues or are feeling the same way. That's what we want F.O.B to be, just a home away from home.
Now, you mentioned home modifications, and Rodney, if you could just broaden what you mean by home modifications, where people are moving around and taking the skills that they learn and applying it in a voluntary sense to help other veterans that might need home repairs. Is that what they do?
Right. So let's just take for an example, if here at the shop, if we're working on a project that is let's say a birdhouse, and everybody's working on the birdhouse. So, you have the basic function of measurement, using a tool, and then putting it together, the type of screws you use. Do you use any kind of adhesive, your angles of your cut, and those kind of things are very basic. But I mean, there's some people out there that either had the skill as they were younger, or just needed to sharpen, or just never have done anything like that, never used a power tool ever. So then just yesterday, I was at a veteran's house, and as a home modification, his wheelchairs didn't fit in the doorways. They're like 32 inch width doors, and his wheelchair is around 36 inches. So we end up doing is taking off the doors off the hinges and putting barn doors where they would slide back and forth, which gave him just enough clearance to get his wheelchair through the openings, right? So, I mean, those are just one of the things we try to do to help. And then the barn doors were donated through Lowe's. It's awesome. Lowe's came through with that, and so the veteran, his name is William, and his wife Chanel, she, her helping during this process, she was helping, and you could tell that, we're learning this together. I've never hung up barn doors. It comes in a kit, and it's different for me. I'm learning as well. I don't know everything, and I'll be the first one to tell you if I don't understand or don't know. And then we try to rely on experts and expert opinions on how things should be done. We don't tackle like large electrical, redoing a whole breaker or anything like that, because I'm not a certified electrician, and we want professionals to do stuff like that if it gets down to large projects. But for small scale stuff, or installing a new toilet lid, or cleaning out the rain gutters, or putting shower handle bars so that they don't fall and slip, you're redoing a part of the carpet, or just little things like that, painting the cabinets. There's so many different elements of home modification that helps these guys in small ways during your life. I mean, if you're stuck at home in a wheelchair and you can't do certain things, the little things that you're around every day are frustrating if you can't get it done because you're unable to do it. And then when you get people like us that come in as a group, we're a brotherhood, and to have us and our members go around and talk to these people for hours and stay and become part of the family. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Like Sarah said, a community. When you go to these guys and you're talking to them all day, you're doing a small little project, but you're staying all day there, and you're just like, it's phenomenal. It's a great experience because they become part of a family, and then you get to check up on them, say, hey, how are the new cabinets, or how is this modification? And then they're like, hey man, could you guys come back? I really will like this and like that. And then there's a huge trust there, and it's an amazing feeling, not just with me, but with all the members, and the members going and visiting new members and doing new modifications and that learning together. It's pretty nice.
Now, this obviously sounds like a very hand-on organization. Sarah, if you could explain a little bit what you had to do in order to do this now in a different environment of COVID, how you've had to make some changes on the go in order to still provide services and do it in a safe way.
So obviously it's brought things, it slowed things down a whole lot. We have to be a lot careful. We've had to kind of scale back the things that we're doing. But when it comes to an emergency, one of our veterans just, we had a washer and dryer donated to him, and his breaker kept flipping. And so, we couldn't let this veteran who is not in very good health go to Walmart and get new clothes because his washer and dryer is not working. So we, like I said, we had to mask up, and we went over there and we were as safe as possible, but, we minimized contact. We did different things like that. We couldn't stay as long as we normally would have, and tackled some other projects while we were there. But, we're trying to do the best that we can. We have some great veteran-owned businesses. One of our awesome guys, Johnny Kerr, owns All Pro Home Services, and was one of our first guys to help us. He owns an HVAC company, and one of our first projects back in October before COVID, he was able to come out and give us a free estimate. And, as a professional and things that, we're obviously not certified to do, we try to support these veteran-owned businesses, and they support us and come out and take care of our veterans. So that's kind of slowed down a little bit. So we're having to problem solve a little bit more on our own, and make, definitely utilize FaceTime a lot more so that we can try to problem solve on the go. We're asking just a lot of people for help over the phone, just trying to explain what's going on so that, we have a better idea of how we can help people. We have our delivery service, which is a little bit different. If someone needs groceries or medicine picked up or whatever it is, we're available to do that. We normally have what's called a mug meeting once a month. So instead of socializing or having a social event at a bar or somewhere like that, we try to make all of our stuff just extremely family friendly. And we have a lot of veterans and first responders who are going through recovery, and we don't feel like it's fair to them that in order to have to get out and socialize, they have to, put themselves in temptation or at risk of throwing everything that they've worked so hard for down the drain just to get out and try to visit with people. So we would have these mug meetings once a month where we would meet on a Saturday morning for coffee and breakfast. And that obviously has not happened the last couple months. So we're looking at doing something virtually, which I think would be great to carry on in the future. So we're just, just like everybody else out there, we're having to find a new, I hate to say normal, because I'm sure it will change again, but having to find a new way to do things and to adapt and overcome, which is something that veterans and first responders are very familiar with. So that's, what we're doing, just trying to find different ways. People have a request. We try to work around whatever we can and still follow the laws and mandates, but help our guys and girls and their families get whatever needs to be done.
And that sounds like an amazing thing. You guys obviously adapt and overcome is something that Rodney knows firsthand. You are told to do from the first second you land at boot camp. And I try to apply that to everything. It's like in your brain forever. You can't get rid of it. That and the 4 safety rules from the range, I'll never forget. That's embedded forever. But so obviously an organization like yours, you depend heavily on volunteers. Volunteers is a big part of any nonprofit where, because people are donating money, but you always don't have enough money at all times. You constantly need a flow of donations, and you also need volunteers to step up and contribute their time rather than money if they don't have the money, but they're willing to give you the time. So what are some of the qualities that you're looking for the volunteers? How do you what do they need? Do they need to have certain certifications that you're looking for? Is it just more of like labor intense, volunteer work, or some skill set that you guys are looking for?
So
I'll defer to Sarah. Go ahead, and then Rodney, I got a question for you next.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So we have a job for everybody. We have an opportunity for anyone who wants to volunteer. There are no certain qualifications. If you have a qualification in a certain area and you want to teach that to someone, then by all means, we will set up a project. We will do whatever it is if that's how you want to volunteer. Right now, I'm going to brag on my mom. We have a veteran who was just put into the hospital yesterday, and she's over at his house right now cleaning and doing what is necessary to oversee some work that was already started that he's not there for. She's washing his clothes and getting stuff done because he just can't do that. So from little bitty tiny things, even if it's just making a phone call and checking on someone, visiting, having lunch with someone. Some of our veterans, they don't even care if their home modifications are done. They just want to talk. Sometimes we have a harder time getting the work done than anything else because they just want to visit. And so you don't have to have any special, you can just know how to use the dumb end of a tape measure. It doesn't matter. We'll teach you. We will learn with you. We will put you with someone. If you're just good at conversating, we've got the people that want to conversate. If you know how to repair a roof, we've got a roof that can be repaired. So pretty much just a warm body that wants to help and will show up. We were really shocked when we went down. Rod was just telling you our veteran with the barn doors. We were really shocked. We went down to meet them. We meet everyone before we, sign up to help and do different things because we want to get to know you. Like I said, community is the number one thing, being a part of that F.O.B family. And we had someone come up and just say us, someone from another organization go, man, we're just surprised that y'all showed up. And we just were shocked by that. And so that's kind of the important thing. If you want to volunteer right now, it's really hard. We're willing to risk ourselves because that's a risk that we can take and a choice that we can make, but we're not going to willingly risk, our other members and set up events where they can come out. So Rod and I have been, boots on the ground. That's why we started this organization, to go out ourselves. But once all this is cleared up, we need people who, maybe if you can just run a lawnmower, you can run a lawnmower. If you know how to trim back hedges, you can trim back hedges. If you know how to fix a leak under a sink or install a shower safety bar, we've installed lots of those recently. So there's really not any type of qualification. If you want to learn something, we'll teach you. It doesn't matter. We're just looking for people who want to give back and want to serve others. That's the only necessary thing that we have for you.
Rod, what are some barriers? Because you obviously bring a lot of passion to this organization and being one of the founders. What are some barriers that you've had to overcome as far as, to create a nonprofit organization? That's a tough business, and you have to learn a lot of the rules. Is there a lot of because Texas might be different than New York. Actually, I could guarantee the amount of regulation to start anything in New York is you need a lot of money and you need a lot of paperwork to get filled out. Is it similar in Texas, or do you guys have an easier way to kind of get this organization off the ground?
Well, we're 501c3 pending, so that's about as far as the paperwork portion. As Sarah, she fights the paperwork battles for me. But the obstacles that I've seen so far that have been I guess pretty hard to absorb and endure and overcome have been the numbers, right? The number of veterans that need the service, the sheer size of these projects. You go into a house and it's he needed a door to be adjusted because the front door wouldn't close, and then all of a sudden you realize that the house, I mean, it's just as bad as you can imagine. And we don't have the resources. I mean, we're a new organization, so we don't have $30,000 to do a floor and windows, and we don't have $15,000 to do a roof, or reconstruct the garage because it's falling over, or there's some things that we just don't have those resources yet, and it hurts. It hurts me personally, because that this is a passion of mine, right? And it's one of those things where it's an obstacle. You have to overcome that, and you have to do what you can. And then also, whenever we get volunteers to come over, and then the volunteers, like it spreads like wildfire. They're like, hey, we have this, we want to donate. Can you use it? And then we're like, yeah, we could use it, but we don't have a place to store it. So Sarah went out and got a container donated to us, and we don't have a place to put it. But my garage is completely packed, and just, I mean, I keep it as organized as possible, but we have stuff being donated, and it's a hard thing if we don't have a place to store equipment that's being donated, and materials. It becomes a little bit of an issue to kind of reallocate stuff, move things around, and still provide services that's needed. And a while ago you were talking about resilience and just kind of adapting and overcoming during this COVID stuff, where we got a 3D printer donated to us. Sarah's one of Sarah's contacts donated a 3D printer. We started to again adapt, right? So we started printing masks, various colors, and I mean, Sarah and I didn't have the slightest clue what we're doing as far as the 3D printer, and we learned it together, and we started to build masks, and now we're adapting again, right? We're trying different things, and we're learning together, and we're just the obstacles we try to overcome the best we can.
And I saw that video, and I shared it on about a week ago, how you guys went and started making masks with the 3D printer. And the 3D printers are amazing. They're an amazing tool, and to have somebody donate that to you. You can see, as I put it up on the screen right now, these are the ways that you could donate to this organization. And if you look in the show notes on Facebook and YouTube channel, I've included a link to the donation page, so that if you are interested in donating to this organization, just click the link, and this is a screen you will see. Please consider donating either tools, equipment. Volunteer your time is a donation in itself. If you're in the area, in the Houston area, and you're able to volunteer some time, please do, because this is an organization, if you've heard and listened to so far, I mean, obviously they're doing great work. We need more organizations like this. We don't, have to wait around and depend on somebody to come around and do it. You have people doing it already. So please consider going to these organizations, to this page, and making a donation. I just wanted to share that with the stream, so it's there already. And what is the day-to-day routine for volunteer? And also, is there a way that I'm in New York, what can I do from New York to help, or people in other states that may want to contribute? Are you looking to open up different chapters around the nation where they could start an organization, let's say in New York, part of the F.O.B. network, and now we have one in New York, New Jersey, and other states? Can they do, I guess, branch off of what you're doing?
Once we get a brick and mortar establishment as a headquarters, then everything else from there can expand, because like I said, the amount of stuff the materials and stuff that could be donated and be used is essential. But our mobile outreach shop, our MOS, that can be branched out to other areas. I just want it to work and be well established here first in my hometown, and use that as a template, so that way there isn't unforeseen issues elsewhere in other states. And so if I have advocates in other places, and have a trailer, an enclosed trailer with their tools and stuff, and can be an advocate of FOB and actually go do these things independently, and just, I mean, that'd be awesome, as long as the veterans and the first responders themselves that need it are getting what they getting the services. I mean, that's what it's about, is the community, building the community, getting somebody who has the skill and applying it to make somebody else's life better. I mean, that is it. That's the essential part of what we're trying to do here, because there's veterans and first responders out there that they've been needing this for years, and there's nobody biting on the problem. And I mean, it's a big problem. So this is one of the things that can be done to answer your question.
Yeah, and we have certain priorities that we're working on. Like, we have some great sponsors that we've gotten already. The Lowe's in Conroe has been amazing. We had ACE sponsor us for a project. So we have great things, but one of the things that we're looking for right now, if someone's, I know times are tough right now, it's hard for everybody, but we still have veterans and first responders who need help, and we can't just not help them because it's a tough time, because it's a tough time for everyone. But one of the things that I was trying to do right before all of this hit is get us a cargo trailer. We have a mobile outreach shop that literally brings a supportive community to the front door of someone in need. But Lowe's donated 4 barn doors to a veteran, and on the day that we had to transport them, it was raining, and we had the back of Rod's truck, and we had to take these doors over an hour drive away. So it's kind of bittersweet, because we're so excited that we have these things, but then we're terrified the whole drive down that something's going to get ruined, or if someone breaks into jumps in the back of the truck and takes something while we're out at someone's house, because some of these neighborhoods, I hate to say, are not the best neighborhoods. And when you're carrying lots of tools and equipment and different things, it can be a little difficult to operate. So we're trying to get a cargo trailer. We just had 2 veterans nominated to us who need extensive things done. One of the fences falling down, and the neighbor's dog is getting over and attacking his dogs, and his pool is green and needs to be filled in, and his back porch awning has fallen down and taken down part of his roof. And all we want to do is go out and help, but without the resources, we can't do that. And we don't want to tell anyone no. Like, and unfortunately, our pockets aren't as deep as we would like them to be personally. And so it's very difficult. We have all the time in the world to give, but, without a supportive, community and generosity from people from anywhere across the world, New York, wherever it is, we can't provide these services. And so once we have, like Rod said, this amazing template of what we're looking for and find the right people, because it takes someone with that heart, that passion. Like you said, Rod obviously has a passion for this, and I have a passion for this. And so, even on days where we might not want to get out of bed because we're tired and sore because we worked all week, we know that someone needs us to be there. And so if we tell someone we're going to show, we're going to show. And those are the people that we're looking for to run our satellite, MOSs across the United States, so that, if we tell a veteran something or a first responder, we're going to follow through. We never want anyone to go, man, we're just surprised you showed up. That's an awful thing. That's an awful thing to us. And so that's what we're looking for when we look to expand, is just someone who's as passionate about helping people as we are. And so there are, like you said, tons of ways to give donations. It's all tax exempt. We're not trying to take that from anybody. We understand how important that is, especially now. If you can get as much back as you can on your taxes next year, then we would love to help you with that through accepting your donation. So lots of different ways, even if you're not in the Houston area.
We've actually had companies, coffee companies, and like a hot sauce company that have donated small portions of what they actually manufacture, and most of them veteran-owned businesses, and they send us and they donate, and then we don't keep it. We give it to the next veteran that we go to. So we're, hey, this coffee company sent us a bag of coffee and a mug, it's yours. And then, that way we kind of spread it out to where, okay, now we're networking with these companies that are veteran owned, helping them also, right, within the community. So that way we try to bring it all together in the end, right? So the small donations like that, from these other companies, we give that to the veterans, which sometimes the coffee mugs are pretty awesome. I want to,
Yeah, I have to tell him he has to give it out to our members and different things like that. But we've had some great coffee come through. And like I said, this connection with Texas True Blue Coffee Company, I messaged them, they donated some coffee, and then I gave it out the other day and they're like, hey, we have all of this hand sanitizer. And so they donated 18 cases of hand sanitizer for us to donate to our local veterans and first responders. And I'm going to be taking some of that to a local sheriff's office tomorrow. So it's all of these little networking and connections. So even though someone may connect to us today and have no idea how they're going to be able to help us, or they're just interested, like, I'm finding that doors just constantly open in different ways, even down the road, that you didn't know. So, even just letting people know about us, the more people who know about us, the more people we can help down the road. And that's kind of what we're looking for.
I think a big challenge that you guys probably will face, and I'm going to give Sarah the opportunity to answer this, because you discussed how mental health is something that you're passionate about and helping people. A lot of veterans have, are either homeless or have mental health issues. A lot of that could be contributed to the fact that, there's nothing for them to, like, they don't find a purpose after the military, and they're looking for that purpose. How could, your organization help with that mental health challenge to a veteran?
So you are definitely right. I am a huge mental health advocate, which is one of the reasons why I think Rod asked me to help with this. But so like I said, I'm a huge mental health, because personally I've been through things. I've had friends, veterans, first responders, different things like that. And that's another, it's not just veterans, right? I'm going to give a shout out to my first responder guys. As an officer, that veterans see things for a few years, but we have some guys in law enforcement that for decades, and may never receive any type of help. And then I've found, as a first responder getting out, that I didn't have any services that veterans are offered, at a great amount. And so what we do for mental health is recreational therapy, right? Like, we're not sit in a circle and talk about our feelings kind of people. That's not what we do. And a lot of our guys and girls aren't like that. I don't want to hold a talking stick. Well, Rod would disagree. I like the talking stick, but we don't all want to hold the talking stick and sit in a circle and talk about, well, this happened and this happened. But, I was going through a tough time, and we had this project called the POD, the Personal Operations Desk, that we were building, and we would go out on weekends and spend lots of hours working on this project. And it was cold and really cold and freezing. But I was able to go out there, and all of the stuff that was happening in my life that was kind of dragging me down a little bit, I could leave at the door, and I could come in. And like I said, I just had to measure the angle aluminum to this, and I had to cut it. And before I knew it, I was, laughing and talking and, having a good time, and kind of getting out of that slump and that darkness that I was in. And we've had lots of guys, that's the one great thing about a workshop platform, is when you come in and you build something or you work on something, at the end of the day, you can look back and see what you did. There's actual progress. And we've done lots of putting things together and taking things back apart and putting them back together and taking them back apart again and figuring out and problem solving. But it's an awesome opportunity to be able to do that. And then if you build something, and maybe you were just building it to get your mind off something, well, if you don't want it, if you build a birdhouse or whatever it is, you can turn around and give that to someone and brighten up someone else's day. Or you can take this skill that you learned and give it back to someone else by, cleaning their gutters or hanging pegboard in their garage or whatever it is. And I know that for me, giving back and helping someone else takes my mind off my problems a lot better than sitting at my house by myself and kind of dwelling in things. So,
especially in a time like this, where a lot of people are being forced to have to stay home.
Exactly. And so one of the things that we've been wanting to do, and things have just been kind of crazy, believe it or not, busy during this time, we're going to start a YouTube channel where we teach people how to do things like, hang a picture in your house the right way, to where you can get out there. So even if you are stuck at home, but you need to do something or change things up, we have part of our organization is the Fabulous Ladies, which is for our women members, so that, if they're learning to do something, they don't have to be mansplained to, and learn that way. And so, we're going to have Fabulous Ladies Nights, where if we have a lady who needs to learn how to tile something in our house, we want to have a female contractor come out and teach us how to do that. We want to have a vehicle maintenance day that's just for our ladies. and their daughter, so they can come out and learn how to change a tire, learn how to check their oil, and do all of these things. So if they're ever in a situation, which I was just in 2 days ago, where they need something like that done, they don't have to rely on someone else or worry about being cheated out of money or something like that. If they want to hang up a ceiling fan, they're going to know how to hang up a ceiling fan. So they have the choice to get help or do it on their own and be able to do it safely and not have to worry about it. So there's lots of different things that really helps with the mental health, and like I said, talking. Lots of our veterans and first responders, they could care less if, the door gets hung. They just want to talk to someone. So a job that might normally take 20 minutes could take 4 hours just because we're talking. So a lot of times when we go out and do a job, we bring kind of designated talkers so that, they can just sit and visit with the veteran while we're, getting the work done and getting the hands-on stuff done. So like I said, when it comes to volunteering and doing different things like that, there's a job for everybody. But when it comes to mental health, that's it. Just drawing people out of their isolation, whether it's making a phone call. We have guys that call us and just say, hey, I was having a bad day. I had a really rough week. And they know that they can call and talk to us at any time. Everyone has our cell phone numbers. We don't have an office number. We have a cell phone number. So they can directly reach out to one of us or text us or say, hey, I need help, or, whatever it is. We're just open. Like I said, we see this as our F.O.B family. Somewhere where you belong and you can, trust and depend on us, not just, other board members or other members. We're the founders and we're here for a reason, and that's to help people.
And I think Rod will agree with me. It's always good to have a veteran on hand because there's a certain personality that we find funny that maybe other people wouldn't find funny. There's a certain dialect that gets used. And to have like an older veteran who's sitting there alone to be able to communicate with somebody who's kind of on the same level, I think that's helpful, right, Rod? We kind of got a different personality. We find things funny that others may not.
Right. There is a little bit of some twisted sense of humor every once in a while that gets thrown around. And trust me, in the shop environment, when we're learning and most of the first responders, at least here in the state of Texas, they are veterans. So they kind of have a dual attitude. It's funny because they'll flip flop from the military vernaculars to the first responder stuff, and then so it's you got to have some thick skin sometimes.
Yes.
And some of these guys will go into their house for the first time, and we've never met them. They're a Vietnam, World War II veteran. And they're really, really hard to break the ice. Like, you just can't walk in there like your best friends. I mean, you got to go in there and you got to put up with a little bit of stuff because they're not very easily just going to just open the door and roll out the red carpet for you. So, they do get a little uneasy and very skittish at first, but then after 20 or 30 minutes of talking military or anything with the first thing is the Army, Navy, and Marine jokes and the Air Force jokes and all that stuff gets thrown around, and then everything kind of starts to fall into place. And next thing you know, they're asking us to stay for dinner, and then they want us to come back. So it's
Ron always brings crayons for a snack. So
you gotta eat those crayons. You know what Marines are.
Always bring some salt to the table. We're a little salty ourselves, so we definitely fit in with that humor. But those Marines always got to bring the crayons to share. So we always bring gifts.
Let me ask a little bit about the future of the organization. Where I personally used my GI Bill when I got out. Luckily, I got employment right away. Within like 2 months of my transition, which was very helpful. But I still use my GI Bill to get education and get my degree. Is there something that you guys would like to do where people are able to get certified training through your organization and utilize something like a GI Bill to get some sort of skill set that they could use for future employment? Is that something? And I'll start with Rod and Sarah if you want to finish up.
So you're absolutely right. I mean, when I got out, I was determined to go back to school. I just had to get through the different various of medications, and and then go through my social network, and then finally I got into place to go to school. And I also used my GI as well to go to school, and I got an electronic engineering degree. and got hired right after that. But there was a year and a half of that in between phase of getting settled back into society, into the civilian world. So and then after I got that, I was able to get a little bit more of some traction. And yeah, to be able to get a facility where we could do a certified training with that, like you said, go to like a tech school and get that certification would be amazing. But would be really good is that if we could just get a facility to where we could get people, the veterans to a certain level, to get them into the local colleges that have these programs. So that way our money's not wasted on doing something that's already available out there. Our money that we're getting is being used to help more veterans, but we can still bring these people up to a certain par of education to be able to enter these schools, whether it be a small engine repair or plumbing or electrical, but at least they have a great basis of knowledge before they go in there, and at least know that's what they like. Like, I like welding or I don't like welding. I think Sarah's the one to say she tried welding and she didn't like it. So, I mean, why go and enter a school and a class and fill out all the paperwork, and then come to find out week 4, you don't like being blinded while you're at work, I mean, there's some things you have to actually have a hands-on, but without the tools being there, you can't figure out whether you actually like that job or not. So that's what I believe.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I was trying to work on before a lot of the things slowed down and the school shut down is, until we're able to offer some type of accreditation down the line, is partnering with our local trade schools, because around here there are plenty of them, and we would love to partner with them and at least know the contacts that we can put our veterans and first responders in contact with to more easily get enrolled or do what they need to do. And then they could use our space and our tools, to practice off of campus, or, build things afterwards, practice their skills that they're learning back and forth. Just like Rod said, I tried welding and it was not for me. I much prefer woodworking and different things like that. And I would hate for one of our veterans, like you said, to use this GI Bill that they worked hard for and earned on something that they hate, they're never going to do, different things like that. And then, they can come and use our facility and practice and build things so that they can sell or start their own business, or, whatever it is, use those skills. So definitely we want to partner with the schools. We're even looking at trying to partner with some of the high schools. And so, their trade programs and different things like that, because a lot of the schools around here, they graduate high school with a trade certification. So even if we can partner veterans to work with some of the high school students who are learning and teach them, some of our veterans' kids or first responders' kids, there are lots of different things that we're hoping to do. It's just a matter of taking it step by step. And like Rod said, all of the money that comes in, we try to put directly toward a veteran project, to supplies or whatever it is. We're very careful with what we do and how we allocate our funds. There are lots of really fun things that we would love to go out and get that would be a lot of fun to use or do or whatnot. But we don't do that. We try to give every penny that's donated directly into something that benefits the everyday life of a veteran or first responder or a family member.
Well, it's a big challenge, and the transition, like I said, going back from the military way of life into the civilian world, and then trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. I was not prepared for that. I came out of the military in debt, no place to live. I had to figure it out quick because, then I got a letter and I was able to get employment within 2 months. If it wasn't for that, I may have been in some trouble because I really did not have a solid plan. And that 2-week class that you get where you get to grow your first facial hair for 2 weeks before you transition out of the Marine Corps doesn't really prepare you for anything. As they try to, make you feel like you're getting adjusted back to the civilian world. Yeah, you're not really ready to go. And I would like to see them take us, help from way before you get out of the military service, that they focus on the real transition, learn how to balance the checkbook properly, rather than the second you hit your payment on the 1st and the 15th of the month, you're at the bar blowing your money for the week, with your buddies. there's no investment incentive or learning. And that's something when you're transitioning, because you don't have those skills, can make it very difficult. And then you can fall into depression very easily. And then you kind of get down this spiraling effect. And, a lot of veterans face that. So I think it's great that you guys have a hands-on type operation going where they feel like there's a sense of accomplishment once they are done with a project, or even just helping out a fellow veteran. I still go visit my friend in Boston. We do a golf outing every year in August in New Jersey for a fellow guy from our company that passed in Afghanistan. We do a fundraiser. There's things that there's always that connection with each other after the service. And same thing with first responders, firemen, police officers. And now you see how the nurses working in hospitals on the front line are putting their lives at risk. And then the families, they still got to go home at the end of the day. So everybody is now, to get that extra help from you guys, I think is awesome. And like I said, in the show notes is the link to donate to your organization. And I hope that we could get some donations going. I want to wrap up with, as far as the organization moving forward, give an example of a success story you had recently that, would get people excited about what you guys do.
So, Rod, do you want to pick one, or do you want me to share?
I'll let you pick it.
Okay. Well, I think we both have the same favorite one. So Steve Meredith was nominated to us back in October. It's actually our first one, so it's still recent for us because we're still pretty new. But we had just started. This was in October, so we were just barely 2 months old, and Steve Meredith was nominated to us by the Houston Lady Lions. Shout out to them because they are amazing. And he was nominated to us. His air conditioner had been out for 9 weeks during summer, which down here is deadly. And he's a Vietnam veteran, wheelchair bound, awesome guy. He's one of my biggest Facebook fans. I love him to death. But he was nominated to us, and we're like, okay, like, here we go. Like, this is our first time. Like, what do we do? And we're kind of trying to figure this out as we go. And that's where we met Johnny Kerr with HVAC. He had Facebook, love it, messaged us and said, hey, I think what you're doing is awesome. If you ever need any help, let me know. So a week later, Stephen Meredith is nominated. I froze. Can you guys still hear me?
I can still hear you. So we can hear you frozen.
I'll keep going. So he was nominated, and we took Johnny Kerr agreed to come out there with us, and kind of checked out the problem and said, hey, this is the problem. He needs this part, but I think it would be better if we did this, because back a couple of years ago we had Hurricane Harvey. I don't know if anyone outside of Texas knows about it, but it was awful. And Mr. Meredith had 8 foot of water in his home that he's still recovering from, doing repairs and different things. So his AC unit was flooded. And so even if we had fixed this one part, it wouldn't have lasted very long. So Johnny, his awesome self, went out and said, hey, let me contact my Lennox people and see what I can do. And within 2 hours, Lennox had donated an entire AC unit, a $9,000 air conditioning unit for Mr. Meredith. So within a couple of weeks, we were able to go out and not just fix this little part and put a Band-Aid on it, but due to the generosity of Johnny coming out and volunteering his time, and Lennox donating the AC system, and the Lady Lions coming together and letting us know about Mr. Meredith at all, and Mr. Meredith, agreeing to let us come into his home and provide him with these services and give back to him, we were able to completely replace his entire AC unit that day. And so that was our first project, our first jumpstart. It's hard to beat, and we try to do it every day, but I think that's it just reassured us that what we're doing and the path that we're on is the right path. And it really is helping people in the best of ways. And like I said, it's just a testament to the generosity of others, because we may be doing the paperwork and we may be putting our boots on the ground, but without the generosity of other business owners and veterans and people in the community, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We just can't. And so it's just a testament to how giving to others is such an important thing, and how that allows us to go in and directly affect the life of someone, the everyday life of someone, so that when he wakes up AC and, he can safely face this summer, which is already getting pretty brutal down here, and we're not even technically into summer yet. So I think that that's probably one of our favorite success stories, the first one. And, our goal is to just beat it every time, to just get better and better every single time. So.
Well, I really appreciate what you guys do. As a veteran myself, and I know a lot of my fellow veteran friends would be they would love this organization. If they haven't listened to, I'm going to make them listen to what you guys are doing and donate. And I will give a donation as well. I think it's important, and I want to remind everybody that the donation link is in the show notes on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. Periscope's a little hard to fit on there, but please click the link, donate to what you guys are doing. It's very important that we take care of our first responders, our veterans, people that every day, put on their pants, go to work, and put themselves at risk, for this country, for the community that they work in. And it is something that is very important that we appreciate, as citizens, what you guys are doing and actually contribute to solving the problem. And I'm a big fan of nonprofits. I wish most things were done through nonprofits all the time without, because a lot of times when the state tries to do it, there's a lot of money that gets thrown at it, but it's not managed properly because they don't have that investment that you guys have, personal feelings that you throw into it every day. I could hire somebody to do a job, but if they're not passionate about it, the job's not going to get done that as well as you guys are doing. So I really hope that you guys are very successful and you grow. And I want to appreciate you guys for coming on and telling everybody who listens to this podcast about what you guys do. I'm going to start with Rod. Give a closing statement. Tell people where they can follow you, get involved with you, and then we're going to close out with you, Sarah. And then I'll do my closing. So first, we'll start with Rod. I'm going to put the pressure on you, Marine. Let's get it done, Sarge.
All right. Well, again, just visit us at futureoperationsbase.org. You guys can become members. Just become a member, contact us, ask us questions, and spread our organization and what we're doing to your local community. Anything for donations, whether it's used tools, gift cards, it doesn't matter. Anything helps. Even just talking about what we do in your area and getting people to contact us is amazing in itself, because the network is going to help our community. That is just how it works, and we support each other. There's a huge shortage in my community of craft labor workers. We don't have enough guys to work on ACs. We don't have enough mechanics and stuff that are military and veteran owned and supported by the first responder community. So those are the small things that we're trying to get done here. So I'd appreciate it and thank everybody. Thank you very much. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, even on LinkedIn. All our social media is out there. So please contact us, like our stuff, and share it. Thank you.
Sarah, take us to the end.
Yes. So once again, just if you're on here, thank you so much. Just listening means a lot to us. We appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Future Operations Base, F.O.B, is our passion. It's what we do. We love helping those who have served us and sacrificed for our country and our community. We can't do anything without the generosity of others, without even the smallest donation helps, So like Rod said, Instagram, Future Operations Base, our Facebook has a sign up button. On our Instagram homepage, there's a link that takes you to a donation button and our membership form. It's really easy. We just did it. You can do it on your phone. It literally takes maybe 10 minutes if you're a slow, blank filler inner. We don't bother you with our membership. We're not going to send you 8,000 emails a day. It allows us to, one, keep you informed of major projects that are going on. Two, allows you to volunteer with us if you want to come out and help a veteran, and just let you kind of stay updated. It's free. There's no obligation. You can be as involved or uninvolved as you want, but in order to move forward, we do have to show that people are interested, obviously. So we appreciate any type of support, even if it's just signing up to be a member, even if you're not in the Houston area. Like Rod said, donations of time, donations of money. It's really easy. We can get you that tax exemption. Donations of, I'll even say new tools, because I'm a girl and I like new things, but love my used tools, building up a tool bag. We're trying to put buckets together so that when We have people come out and volunteer. They'll have their own tool bucket so that if they have a job of doing X, they have their own little bucket of tools that they can do. So they don't have to have anything to come and volunteer. So anything at all helps. We love what we do. We hope that you love what we do. And if you can get involved, please do. Let people know about us. We are hoping to do this nationally. So follow us. And then when we are going nationally, if you want something like this in your area, let us know so that we know where we can start planting those seeds for the new MOSs to start with and then move on from there. If you have a cargo trailer and you're in the Houston area and you want to donate it, totally open to that. No complaints whatsoever. But until then, we're just going to keep trucking along and doing what we can do every day to help our members and serve. So thank you once again for tuning in.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I want to remind everybody who's listening to this on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and the audio platforms, please hit the subscribe button, give us a rating, give us a comment. And if you watch this on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, leave a comment, share this with other people, get this organization out there, let people know that organizations like this exist. I know that we're in a very difficult time with the pandemic and everybody, but we're starting to loosen up and get back to where we're going to be able to interact with each other again and keep this into consideration, because what they're doing is great work for veterans, for first responders who have been battling the last few months. So let's not forget about them as well and make a donation so they could provide the help. And they used a 3D printer to make masks without anybody telling them to do so. They were able to do it voluntarily and get it to where Rod's holding it up right there. Something that, who thought that you guys would be having to make first responder masks? That was probably not even in question. And you guys took it upon yourselves to do it, to do the right thing, to help the veterans and first responders who are dealing with this pandemic. And that just shows you how dedicated you are to this organization. And I want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing that with all of us. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.